This is Bob Rotruck with your Phantoms preview, reporting from Mohegan Sun Arena at Casey Plaza. Adirondack Phantoms at the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins tonight, and a sold-out crowd will be jammed in here, 9,000 plus. They get awfully excited when it's that Penguins-Flyers rivalry, and here we've got the AHL version with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins and the Adirondack Phantoms. First meeting of the year between these two teams, the first of four. Adirondack trying to win their third in a row, and what an exciting one it was on the road yesterday at the Binghamton Senators. Danny Sivret, in his 500th career pro game, scores in the fifth round of the shootout, the only goal for either side in the shootout. And one thing that I neglected to mention on the broadcast yesterday, and it had just slipped my mind, but the goalie that he scored that shootout goal against, Ben Bishop, Sivret and Bishop were teammates last year with Peoria. So, you know, those guys do shootouts and practices and so forth. Sivret is very familiar with Ben Bishop, who was then traded to the Senators organization right before the trade deadline last year. Sivret spent the whole season with Peoria in that St. Louis Blues organization. Probably gave him a little bit of an advantage, and he came through in the clutch in the fifth round. What a game it was, and some wild stuff. Cal Heater made maybe his best save of the night with about 30 seconds left in overtime as he dove from his right to his left. I think he stuck out his stick a little bit, anticipating Weirkosh about to shoot from the right circle, and he was backdoor. And maybe that was the best save that he made in the entire evening, and it just happened to come with about 30 seconds left in overtime. It was a terrific game. Matthew Ford scored his second goal of the year. The Phantoms really need him to pick up the scoring pace. He'd been a little slower to get going, had 29 goals last year, so we absolutely know that he can do it. And Brandon Manning driving to the net again. That's the second goal that he's scored in the last couple of weeks that have not come from the point. They've been with him driving to the net. He took a shot, and then it kind of got loose in the slot. He went in there. He's a defenseman. Normally, you expect him to stay back at the point, but now he's kind of feeling it. And that was his fifth goal of the season for the alternate captain. So those were the scorers yesterday for Adirondack, and a 3-2 victory on the road at the Binghamton Senators. Of course, a new-look lineup featuring a bunch of players who had been with Trenton at some point within the last couple of weeks. And for most of those guys, for most of the season, they'd been with Trenton. Marcel Nobles had his first career point. It was on a nice spinorama assist in the right circle to set up Matthew Ford and give Adirondack the 1-0 lead. Nobles is coming into his own in just 3 games in the American Hockey League. He's only 20 years old. He's from Germany, and he's kind of high on the list of prospects in the Philadelphia Flyers system. Number 12, Ian Slater. I think he's going to get some popularity in Glens Falls once the fans get a little more familiar with this hard-working center, this rookie out of Western Michigan University. Matt Mangine, we know a little bit. 5 games at the end of last year, 4 games at the beginning of this year before he was knocked down with a concussion on October 28th in a game at Syracuse. He spent the past month and change in Trenton, and he's back with the Adirondack Phantoms now. Andrew Johnston, number 15 as well. He began the season his first 10 games with Adirondack. That went down to Trenton for a couple of months. Now he's back with the Phantoms. On and on it goes. Blake Kessel, he'd been with Trenton this year, played with the Phantoms last season. It is very much a new-look lineup for Adirondack in many ways, although these guys really are quite familiar with each other. It's not like we traded for a bunch of guys from different organizations that we've never heard of before and that don't know each other. They all know each other. They've played with each other before. We're talking in places like Trenton as well as in training camps as well. These guys are all there, and they're very familiar. So it does work out a little bit more okay, I guess, than what a lot of fans might be thinking. As far as this Penguins team goes, their offense is really hurting. Under 2.4 goals per game. They are last in the Eastern Conference in offense, 28th out of 30 in the American Hockey League. They did win yesterday, 1-0, and that's pretty much how they have to come about getting their victories lately when they're not getting the offense. Brad Thiessen, goalie of the year in this league a couple seasons ago. Earlier this year, he had lost his number 1 job as goalie to Jeff Zatkoff, formerly of Manchester. Thiessen might be the man again. He got that shutout win for these guys yesterday in a 1-0 victory over the Hershey Bears. But they've only won 3 out of their last 16. Wilkes-Barre 3-10-3 in their last 16 games. Adirondack coming off a victory over one of the best teams in the league. Binghamton 22-8-4 now after that shootout loss, but still the second best record in the league. Now Adirondack trying to make it 3 in a row tonight in Wilkes-Barre against the Penguins. The game tonight is at 7. We'll have the broadcast coverage for you at 6:30. Pepsi Countdown to Face-Off on Q101.7.